What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Nintendo Jab here, back with a brand new video, and I wanted to talk a little bit about a game that I think is flying under a lot of people's radar. This is also one of the cheapest Nintendo Switch 2 games that you can buy right now, coming in at only $15. And I want to make it clear, it's a Switch 2 game. It's not a Switch 1 game with the Switch 2, upgrade or anything like that. No, this is like a native Switch 2 exclusive. And again, it's only 15 bucks, and it actually gives you a lot of value for that. It's a great demonstration of what the Switch 2 is capable of in terms of performance and fluidity, and yeah, it's just a really fun game to go ahead and play. Now, that game in question is none other than Fast Fusion. This is an arcade racing game that is available on the Nintendo eShop for just $14.99 US. Obviously, you might have to convert to your local currency depending on where you're watching this from, but for the most part, yeah, this is 15 bucks, and with it you get one of the best looking racing experiences that you can get right now on Nintendo Switch 2. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a great showcasing of what is possible on Switch 2 when it comes to both performance or just overall graphics, primarily because of the fact that this is one of the few Nintendo Switch 2 games that you'll find that actually has adjustable graphics settings, both in handheld and in docked mode. In docked mode, you do get a couple more settings, but yeah, in handheld, you can choose basically the performance profile, which is 1080p, 60 FPS. The graphics are reduced a little bit to maintain that 60 FPS target, but for the most part the game still looks really good, and again, it's really fluid at that locked 60 FPS, and then it also has like a higher quality mode, which basically just turns up a couple of those graphical settings, and it does bring the frame rate down to a 30 FPS lock, so you can choose whether or not you want more fluidity or if you want slightly higher graphics. When you go ahead and play this game docked mode, you actually get some more options. You can play this game at 1440p. You can also play it at 4K 60 FPS. Again, great showcasing of what the Nintendo Switch 2 is capable of. Obviously, it's not true 4K. They are using DLSS to boost from a lower resolution up to that 4K resolution, but still, it still looks really good on my TV personally. And there's actually an even higher quality mode than the 4K 60 FPS mode, where basically it's 4K 30 FPS, but again, they increase some of those overall graphical features and stuff like that, shadows, stuff like that, just to make the game look a little bit better at the cost of that 60 FPS mark. You do get 30, but it's still very consistent. So again, you can decide whether or not you want just the best graphics possible or if you want better performance. I really love when console games go ahead and offer graphical options like this, because it lets the consumer actually go ahead and choose what they want. Some games look great, but they're locked to 30, and for some people they might be thinking, I wouldn't mind sacrificing some graphical detail here if I could get 60 FPS and stuff, but usually with console games they don't give us that option. Fast Fusion gives you that option, and there's a lot of those options, so that's really nice. Now, to give a little bit of info as to what this game even is and stuff, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, it's an arcade racing game, so it's very fast paced. It doesn't take itself too seriously or anything like that, but it still is very fun to actually play. They do offer split screen co-op up to 4 players, and yes, it still holds the 60 FPS target even with 4 players playing at the same time. That is absolutely crazy. Most games tend to sacrifice the frame rate when you do dual split screen or even up to 4 players and stuff like that, but this game does not do that, so that's really cool to see. On top of that as well, the gameplay, it's really fun. Like, again, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's kind of crazy, and it's really fast paced, but it's just fun to go ahead and play, especially when you factor in the soundtrack. The music is just so good, and it just goes so well with the racing. It just feels like an overall like arcadey experience. With me personally, it kind of reminds me of playing some of those more fast paced like racing games back when you were a kid, and you just were playing things for fun. That's kind of what this game reminds me of. It just reminds me of that time when you used to play games as a kid for fun. And as if I wasn't, just completely glazing this game all the way up to this point in the video, like I mentioned, it's the cheapest Nintendo Switch 2 game you can get right now at just $15. I think the only other option that's like that cheap is the new No Man's Sky Switch 2 upgrade, which is like 24 bucks or something like that, which that is also a pretty good deal too, but obviously it's a completely different game and it's still more expensive. So yeah, that makes Fast Fusion pretty much the cheapest Switch 2 game that you can buy right now. And in me personally, I think it's well worth the money. I've been having a lot of fun playing this game. It's just a great technical showcase of like what a arcade racing game could be on Switch 2. It's great if you have people to play with for local cool, split screen multiplayer and stuff. And then on top of all of that, like I mentioned, the soundtrack is just so good, goes so good with that racing, and it's just nice to be able to have a game where you can actually adjust the graphics settings to your liking, which again is not something that we usually see on consoles. But yeah, that's pretty much just my quick little review of Fast Fusion on Nintendo Switch 2. Highly recommend checking it out if you haven't already. Like I mentioned, I feel like a lot of people, this has gone under their radars. A lot of people aren't talking about it. They're talking about the big boys. They're talking about the Mario Kart Worlds, the Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition, the Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 edition, Cyberpunk. They're talking about those games. I haven't seen too much coverage on Fast Fusion, but I wanted to go ahead and make a video just so that just a couple of people can go ahead and watch that and maybe, see what else the Switch 2 has currently to offer. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Let me know what you think about the game down in the comments below. Does it look like something you might be interested in? And with all of that being said, though, guys, thank you for watching this video. Subscribe if you haven't. We're getting super close to our first 1,000 subscribers. But yeah, anyway, let me just go ahead and wrap this up. I've yapped off your guys' ears enough. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.
Subscribe, motherfucker.